Good evening, and welcome to the regular Piqua City Commission meeting Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. Let us begin by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to all the people in the audience and to those online that are watching, if we're not Zooming, but that will watch this on Channel 5 or YouTube. And we'll have the clerk call the roll at this time.
Mayor Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Hines.
Here.
Commissioner Grissom.
Here.
Commissioner Pearson.
Here.
Commissioner Foat.
Here.
All right. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
This evening, we only have one item on the consent agenda, and that is the approval of the minutes from the February 16th, 2021 regular Piqua City Commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is new business, starting with resolution number R-19-21.
A resolution requesting final legislation to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation, Odot, for the traffic signal and pedestrian improvements on East Ash Street from Scott Drive to Keenly Drive. Amy Havener will present the next two reports.
Thank you. So this project is getting ready to go out to bid. It is the safety project for the East Ash corridor from Scott Drive out to Keenly. If you recall, we've been before you a couple times with different legislations. This would be to adjust the signal timing, to add backplates to the traffic signals, to reduce some of the striping, and to add some handicap ramps. So as I said, this will be going out to bid. The bids are actually due in the 1st of April. And we're hoping there'll be no cost to the city of Piqua. It will all be covered by a grant. However, once the bids come in, ODOT they usually give us a week or two to give them the okay, whether to proceed or not. So if the bids happen to come in over our estimate, then I would like to have legislation in the amount up to $25,000 to be able to proceed. Again, I'm hoping we won't need any. I'm hoping it comes in at budget or under. But this way, it will allow us to, if they do come in over, to have the legislation in place to proceed.
Any questions from the commission?
The only question I have, I know we've been working on this all for a long time. Is this the final part of that project?
It is. You will not hopefully hear from me again on this.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, because it's been going on for a while.
Yeah,
so.
ODOT usually has 3 different rounds of legislation. They make us bring it before you and the public. So this should be the last one.
Okay.
So start to finish, like when shovel hits the dirt, what kind of timeline would we be looking at for interruption out there?
They're hoping May to start construction, and I think they have a completion date of October. It won't take that long, but they don't like to pigeonhole a contractor into a time because that usually drives the price up. So we're looking the end of October, but again, if they start early May, it won't take more than a couple months, if that.
Right.
Any other questions? Any questions from the citizens? All right, then. I will ask for a
Motion?
motion.
I'll make a motion for resolution number R-19-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry about that. I was looking for something. The word motion, apparently. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-20-21.
Preliminary consent legislation with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for the upgrade of signal timing equipment on County Road 25A, Main Street in the city of Piqua.
So the Ohio Department of Transportation has taken on a study of our 25A corridor for us. They had a consultant come in and do all of the traffic counts and the signal timing. And some of the results of that were that we have no coordination with the three intersections at Main and Clark, Main and Garnsey, and Main and South. So the Ohio Department of Transportation has offered to provide us with, for no charge, these GPS time clocks, which will basically allow all of the intersections from Riverside out to Clark to be able to talk to each other, whereas right now those three are standalone. They need this legislation passed, but again, there's no cost to the city. We will have to install them. Piqua Power will do that work, but this will allow us to get those time clocks free of charge.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Any questions from the citizens? You guys are being bashful out there now, come on. If no questions, I will entertain a motion. I got it right there.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-20-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-21-21.
A resolution approving the Ohio Department of Natural Resources grant application for program year 2021 through the Recreational Trails Program, RTP, and authorizing the city manager to submit the application to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And Chris Smeezy will present the staff report.
Thank you. This item would allow us to apply for funds that would support the improvements of a portion of the Loch 9 Park project. And it's through the ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources Recreational Trail Program, which provides up to 80% reimbursement assistance for up to a maximum amount of $150,000. And for the project that we're targeting here, this would fall into the categories that the ODNR likes to see for this particular grant program, in particular trail connections. That's what they like. This is the proposed improvements would create the connection from the Great Miami River Recreational Trail down at the river grade up to the Ohio to Indiana Trail at the Main Street elevation. So that connection that we're currently lacking after the first phase of work on the Loch 9 Park improvements would be restored with this work. In your packet, you'll see the sketch of the improvements. So it's highlighting that area where the ramp connection, we call it a ramp because it's taking you from one elevation down to the other up, whichever way you want to go with that. This would include that area just to the south of the existing Ohio to Indiana rail bridge, or the trail bridge. And it swoops down through the embankment, so that embankment will be graded back so that you can make that grade change there. And then it would swing up to the north and swing down to the south, so it would be a really nice continuous flow from either direction for the trail users. The estimate we have from the engineering firm is just at $90,000 for the construction of the improvements. We're also anticipating about $12,000 in plan preparation and bidding services, inspection services. Those can be included in the amount asked for from the grant program. So all total, it's about $102,000 we'd be asking for, and the 80% reimbursement would put us at the $81,000 mark. So there would be about a $20,000 local match from City of Piqua local funds. All of this work would be a 2022 budget item. So, and of course, it would be contingent upon our receiving this grant. Happy to answer any questions.
So I just want to make sure, when you said reimbursement, is that, so are we applying for the grant and then we would receive that before proceeding, or is it just like a normal grant, you get the money and then?
Yeah, so you apply for the grant, you're notified if you've been awarded the funds. I think the cycle for this one is the September timeframe. And then the actual availability of the funds is, I think, the first of the year, actually.
Okay.
So it pushes us into 2022 by the time it's appropriate construction season and whatnot. We would so we would know for certain that the funds have been allocated. We would go ahead and do the improvements, and then they reimburse us for our 80%.
Thanks. At first, when I read it, I was thinking you do it and then you could potentially get reimbursed.
Yeah.
Okay,
We know that we're going to be reimbursed before we initiate the project.
gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions from the commission?
For the, if we're able to move forward with the project, traveling up and down 25A, you tend to see a lot of traffic that's on that portion of the bike path. Would the city have something put in plan well before this even happens to get that traffic rerouted off of there to get them back onto the bike path to continue to go further north on the path and also go further south on that path? Or are we just going to cut that time off for that period so they can't go north and south through that area?
I'm not sure I'm following. So the north-south trail along the river will remain as is.
Okay.
And then this would create the connection from down at the river elevation up to the Main Street elevation where you have the east-west trail, the Ohio to Indiana.
Okay.
So the connection would connect basically at the bottom of the steps in that vicinity and sweep down to the south of the bridge, and it'd be cut down through the embankment
Okay.
to come down to the elevation of the river. where the
Okay,
flow is.
and I was just looking at the picture of the highlighted area, and I see like the north and south that's there. That's the remainder, that's the bike path that's currently in there right now.
Yes.
But I would assume that when they start construction on this other, that they would have to zone that off.
Yes, there'll be the appropriate construction signage, and I would imagine for the minimal scope here, they'll be able to maintain the bicycle traffic the majority of the time, short of that brief period of time when they need to cut the existing pavement to do the grading and pave in the new section.
Which it does.
And I would think the nice thing with that part of the path, if they couldn't get down to the bottom, there's a nice place to take that sidewalk over and come down that way into Lock 9, if you will, or around the corner, so.
Yeah, the earlier phase that we talked to you about with the application for the Land and Water Conservation Funds, it's building that section to the north of the O2I bridge behind the buildings. So on that side, there'll be a connection that will accommodate pedestrian movements and a set of steps that would take you from the elevation where the street grade elevation down to the trail elevation. So there'll be movements, you'll be able to make movements either direction when both scopes are completed. But the one to the right or to the south is where the bicycle traffic will be able to flow without having to go up or down steps.
Okay.
I guess my question, or just for clarification, obviously, when these are being constructed and we can't get through there, we can move through the sidewalk at that place where the path, it comes before you go down the hill. You can get on the sidewalk and go around. So people are able to
Yeah.
maneuver around it. I have a lot of people that call me because they get frustrated because they don't know,
Access is there.
how to make the maneuver or different things like that. But there's a pretty easy maneuver to get around that area by the
You're-
sidewalk.
You're correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be able to continue to do what they're doing now in the absence of this connection.
Yeah.
During the construction period. Once this is done, it'll be much, much more convenient for them.
Right. But they'll still be able to move through there and get from that portion to
Yeah.
the other portion.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure citizens understood that, so.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Any questions from the city, or citizens? I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll move that we adopt resolution number R-21-21.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And final new business is resolution number R-22-21.
A resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of transformers for the power system. Ed Krieger will present the staff report.
Thank you. Each January, we come to City Commission typically requesting approval for the purchase of distribution transformers to replenish inventories. And this process goes through our standard purchasing process where we receive sealed bids due to the total price of the purchase. The sealed bids were received on January 15th of 2021. We received bids from 6 different vendors. We evaluated the bids not only based on the cost to purchase, but with our transformers, we look at the cost to own the transformers over the 25-year projected life of the transformer, which takes into account no load and load losses. So as you review the sheets for each individual transformer type and size, you'll see there's not only the purchase price, but the evaluated price for that 25-year projected life. This package was presented to the Piqua Energy Board at our February 23rd meeting and unanimously recommended for Piqua City Commission approval. And we're recommending to move forward with the purchase of these transformers, 15 total transformers from ERMCO. ERMCO is a company we've dealt with for a number of years. They've done a nice job providing transformers that met our specifications, and we've been purchasing them for probably 15 years and have never really had an issue with them. So we feel really comfortable with that, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the commission?
No
This is a
question.
yearly thing, right?
Every year, and it varies year to year based on the amount of activity we have. And the good news is, last year was a pretty busy year with, we had a subdivision development, which we haven't had in some time. And we had quite a few commercial projects with the hospital and some others, assisted living on Garby Ridge. And so these are unique. The voltages that we carry are unique, and so you need to maintain the inventory because as projects come up, or if a transformer would fail, you need to have the appropriate size and voltage in inventory.
Totally agree.
Yep.
Thomas, did you have a question?
Well, not a question. I just wanted to comment on this again. You know, as we sit down and go through the budget on an annual basis for the city and what the directors present to us, you know, once again, we're looking at a resolution that's in front of us that was budgeted for $75,000, and cost of it come underneath it once again. So, you know,
They did their
can't
due diligence.
can't say kudos enough. So greatly appreciate the hard work on it and getting the city the best deal that we can get.
Thank you. It's important.
It is.
We work hard to maintain a financially viable utility, and every purchase goes into those. All those decisions make a difference.
Sure. Great, thank you.
Any questions from the citizens?
Jay Roman, 406 West High. Do you guys have like a set number that you like to keep in stock, or do you guys just buy, like, let's say every year you guys buy 5, just for instance? Or is there a certain stock number that you guys try to aim for?
So we maintain, there's actually 3 different distinct types of transformers. We have the single-phase conventional transformers that you'll see on a pole.
Okay.
You know, they're the canisters, the gray canisters. And you'll have the 2 types of underground transformers. You have the small single-phase transformers that you'll find in a subdivision, like we talked about out by the high school, any of the Deerfield, any of the areas in town. All the newer construction uses the underground transformers. And all the large businesses, like I mentioned, we've had a few commercial installations that we've just recently completed. The new Magic Tunnel Car Wash, the new Right Pat Credit Union. Those use 3-phase underground transformers. So you have those 3 types of transformers. And on top of that, you don't want to put a transformer in that's much larger than what the load requires, because that's not very cost effective. So you stock a number of different sizes of each of those transformers. So we typically, on some of the larger items that don't see the amount of flow through inventory, we like to maintain probably 3 of each class in inventory if we can. But on the smaller, like I said, in the subdivisions, common size might be a 25 kV underground single phase. We might have 15 of those in stock, because if we have one subdivision go in, you might install a dozen of them.
Okay, and do those, like, for lack of better words, do they expire ever? Do they have to be used within a certain amount of time, or do they just pretty much sit there until you need it and they're good?
So the transformers, there's no harm in them sitting in inventory.
Sure,
We've
okay.
never had an issue with pulling a transformer out of inventory, even if it's been in inventory 10 years.
Okay.
Because the wear and tear on the transformer starts when you energize the transformer, and that's where the wear starts. And like I said, we evaluate them over a 25-year life because we expect them to last that long, and we have had some last a lot longer than that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
No other questions from the citizens? I will entertain an motion then.
I move we approve resolution number R-22-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So at this time, we will have a public comment section. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city commission regarding agenda items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the city manager's office. So at this time, if anybody would like to come forward and address the commission, step forward, please. Okay.
There, Jay.
I guess I'll go first again. Jay Roman, 406 West High. I wasn't quite ready here. First and foremost, before I get started, I got something I kind of wanted to talk about. Is there any updates at all as far as the progress on the possibility of bringing a medical marijuana facility here? Has anyone heard anything, or has it just been as simple as we voted it in and now we're just waiting?
So for the legislation piece, the city has passed that. It's up to individual privatized owners now if they want to come into the Region 3 of Ohio, which is Miami, Shelby, and Darke counties, to bring in a dispensary to the actual city of Piqua. Of course, they would have to meet our guidelines as to what the development department had put in place as to where they can be at Central Business District or the Business District. But there are certain guidelines that are out there. I did hear from a gentleman prior to the legislation being passed, and since it's been passed, there's not been any further communication since then, but the city's done everything on our end. Now it's up to the privatized area to come in and do what they need to do.
So if you know a guy, send him our way.
Can I touch on it? So, but the state still needs to pass where
Right.
they accept applications.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big holdup right now. So I did get on the state's website, signed up for their notifications. So if they do have any kind of news or there's going to be events of, they're going to allow more licenses, because right now you can't even apply for a license. And so that's what we're really waiting on the state. I have reached out also in that regard to see where we're at. Is there opportunities? Is there something on the forefront that they're going to try to push? Is there something we can do to help, allow that movement to make forward? But at this time, there's been no feedback. So hopefully we'll hear something in the future.
Okay, fair enough. One thing I wanted to touch on real fast. It's no secret I went through the Government Academy in 2019. It was one of the most valuable experiences I've ever made. And one of the things that when we went through the fire department, it was fun, to go through there. But more than anything, I remember stopping in front of the ladder truck. You were there with it, and the guy that was in front of us in the ladder truck, Chris Grissom, for those who can't see, he was in the same class as me. The guy who was explaining the ladder truck to us was just frustrated with the ladder truck. And I remember that, but hearing all the problems that were wrong with the ladder truck and everything. And then about a year and a half fast forwards, and I get sent this message from, this is a comment that was made on a page from Piqua Firefighters, Local 252. The admin of that page typed this out as a response asking what happened to Piqua's ladder truck. And the response was, that's a great question. Currently, the city of Piqua does not own a ladder truck. The city has applied for the Assistance of Firefighters grant for the past couple of years, but that has been denied for various reasons. The ladder truck we sold was over 30 years old and unsafe to operate as an emergency vehicle. We are currently relying on other municipalities for their ladder trucks. Troy and Sydney both have 2, and Tip City has 1. And I go on to talk about if you have any other further questions to get a hold of the city manager or fire chief. The reason why I brought up both of those things is, as a member of the Civil Service Commission, that's very disappointing to hear that we do not have a ladder truck. I posted a screenshot of that, and I'm sure you guys can guess the comments that came back was all the projects that the city has funded over the years, and we're not even making sure that the people that work the hardest in this city, who are EMTs and our firefighters, are not equally equipped and properly prepared to handle some of these things. And I'm not saying it's anybody's fault in this room by any means. This goes back way before anybody who was in this room was in this room. But I think that's something that really needs attention. These guys work, I live right across the street from here. I hear them day and night going out there busting their tails for this community and the other ones. And something needs to be done. I'm not even saying you guys could do something about it, but something in general needs to be done, whether it be some sort of crowdfunding, some sort of citizen funding, whatever. We need to get these guys the proper equipment they need. They deserve it. They put their lives on the line every single day, even more so when it comes to this COVID stuff, and us, the citizens, need to back them up. So that was something I just wanted to address real fast. But other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
All right.
Jay, can I just say, I agree with you, and I know that this has been going on for a long time, and there have been numerous years that the funding, they've gone out for this. It's extremely expensive, and off the top of my head.
It's over $1 million.
It's over $1 million for this.
1.2.
Yeah, which, I mean, I mean, I agree, we need it, but the problem has been the funding, and that's been the biggest issue. I know that, like I said, they've gone for grants and they've gone for different things looking for it, so.
We are looking at Mr. Oberdorfer, we are.
Sure.
addressing
So what we're doing right now is a complete asset inventory across the city of all departments. And we're in the process of preparing a vehicle and equipment replacement fund, which will schedule out the service life of each class of equipment. And that will include all the apparatus and EMS in the fire department. What that allows us to do is, over time, we're not going to get there next budget cycle, but starting maybe the budget cycle in '23 is to fund the vehicle and equipment replacement fund at what it's going to cost at a levelized funding over many years, so that as you have the peaks and the valleys, we're saving in the years that we're not buying equipment to pay for the major expenditures for, like, it's really a $1.4 million ladder truck. So how we get there from here now, because we've failed to plan to do that, we're working on that, and if we don't get the grant, we're looking at some other funding opportunities internally through efficiencies and even sale of excess equipment.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks for sharing. Any other comments from citizens? I still like seeing your faces out there, even if you don't.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice to have you back, so
It
thank
really
you.
is.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next section, which is the city manager's report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners.
evening.
So I was going to report out, I have 3 items. There was no public comments from the last meeting to reply to. I'll have something for your comments, Jay, and we can cover that at our meeting. I was going to talk about the snow event from February 15th through the 18th, and I've got some figures. The total overall expenditure for that storm event was $36,242. It encompassed 10 trucks, 2 backhoes, a loader, skid steer, and various sidewalk equipment, and 25 employees across various departments. The labor cost was $13,773, and that encompassed 344 hours of work, 130 tons of salt. We were spared because it was a heavy snow event. We plow, and then we salt.
That's true.
So we saved quite a bit of money in material. They did drive 3,000 miles, and we used about $2,850 worth of fuel. So you can see, in a heavy winter, it doesn't take long to rack up over $100,000, dealing with snow events. And at the level of service we provided, it was far and above, I won't name locations, but our neighbors. We'll leave it at that.
That's true.
It's another item, nice positive item. I just signed a purchase order with Tennis Technologies, and they're going to be making repairs and repainting and striping and installing new nets at the courts at Fountain Park.
Yes.
Oh,
And
great.
it will include pickleball.
I'll let Bonnie
And
Davis know.
pickleball.
And so that's tentatively scheduled for later this spring, weather permitting.
Oh, great.
Nice.
And lastly, let's see, Parks Committee is going to be meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We're going to meet in chambers here. We're going to be discussing and this will be my first meeting with the committee, but we're going to be discussing the master plan and some deferred maintenance at the parks, and talking about a path forward in terms of getting our arms around the idea of having a cost recovery philosophy and fee schedule that we can discuss with the commission in meetings to come, probably late summer.
That's an open meeting, right?
It is.
So if people would like to go, I'll be there.
I had a question. You said the basketball park's Fountain Park?
It's at Fountain Park, the tennis courts, yes.
Okay, so is it going to be traditional painting? I know prior to your arrival, I was working with Gary trying to see if there's opportunities, like how some of the inner cities have some of the really artistic type basketball courts, and if there's any opportunities there. Do you know if there's any discussion on that?
I would really like to do that at some other alternate locations, because with pickleball, it makes it really difficult.
Right.
That's a better application for like a basketball court. And so that's something we can even discuss tomorrow night.
Oh, the tennis court. Oh, sorry. I thought you were
he's
talking about
talking
the
tennis.
basketball courts.
No.
You heard basketball when you said tennis.
Oh,
Because I know those weren't painted as well. They were repaved, but they weren't painted. so,
Correct.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. There you
Coming
go.
up.
It's coming up, that's right.
that completes my report. Thank you.
All righty. Any questions from commissioners?
These things.
To the city manager? No. I think you're doing a great job. I appreciate your
amen.
energy, the time that you're spending, and you're reaching out to the businesses and citizens. I think you're spot on, and so keep doing what you're doing. You've got all of our support.
I appreciate that. And I did fail to mention one thing, and that would be the Main Street, some of the issues we have with pedestrian and vehicular intersection between that, the particular area there at the court. And so we're working on a plan, and we should have something for the next meeting, a diagram that kind of lays out what our intermediate idea is until we actually can do a capital project and have a boulevard section through there to eliminate that illicit left turn and the cross traffic.
All right.
That'll
I
be
will let you know that Brian Quinter reached out to me today and told me that he did see several traffic stops made by our police department of people turning left off of Market Street onto Main Street. And hopefully that will discourage some of those people from doing that and prevent some of the planners from getting hit and possibly some accidents from occurring. So
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And-
enforcement will make a difference.
Absolutely, and we're also reaching out to the post office, dollar store, and other businesses that have semi-deliveries to try to get them to reroute instead of coming
Love
through
it.
downtown.
Thank
So
you.
That
That
will
is
make
the
a
other
difference.
piece.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks for being on it. I appreciate it. Next is a commissioner's report. So let's start with Commissioner Foat.
All right, just two things to talk about this evening. Over the weekend, I had a chance to get out and shop local. Had some good conversations with some of the store workers, and something that was brought up was the bike paths during our snow events, not having accessibility to those because of the lack of plowing. I know you've mentioned on occasions, Mr. Oberhofer, that you're looking at an SOP for the city for future events. But we hear a lot of times, well, Sydney's got this or Troy's got this, and that's what I heard about the bike pass. Well, Troy's was clear. We went down there, we rode our bikes, we walked there, and I was like, okay. But I just sharing that with you and with the city office to let the citizens know that their concerns are being heard and that we're going to work through those issues 100% if at all possible. Not saying that we'll get resolution all the time, but at least we're going to try and work through those and try to work through some of those issues for the citizens. The other thing I want to talk about kind of dropped off last year with the COVID-19 thing, and I joked about it at the beginning of the year. Spring is upon us. Looking at the urban chicken concept again. Been doing a lot of research over the past, 4 months and how it looks in other cities. And I think it's something that I want to bring back up and start having more conversations on, whether we look at the co-op idea or whether we look at some kind of licensing concept for our citizens to do that. I still think it's a good idea for our citizens to become self-reliant on themselves and be able to provide for the family, so on and so forth, especially with what's been dropped in our lap with the COVID-19 virus. I'm just bringing it back up again, that I'm going to bring the conversation back up to light and start moving forward with some planning on this, and hopefully we can get some people behind it and move forward with it.
I'd appreciate if you'd reach out to Upper Valley and see if they'd be interested in partnering with us on that as well. So, That's a great idea. I mean, I have no problem. Love to talk about that. And we'd love to have citizens' input on that as well. Is that it?
That is it for me.
Commissioner Pearson?
I just, with spring coming quickly, it's time to get out and dust off our bikes and dust off our walking shoes and get ready for outdoors. And I think it'll do us all some good to be outside in the sunshine. I wanted to give a shout out to Brittany Van Horn for keeping us all informed about what was going on or what is going to happen in our city, and especially on the bike path where they're going to reconstruct the hydraulic canal spillway. So the bike path is going to be shut down at that point out to the old water treatment plant starting March the 8th. Also, there are lots of underground repairs being done. I know where I live, Wood Street, Gordon Street is torn up, coming down Covington Avenue or going up Covington Avenue. It's challenging, so be sure to slow down and take your time through those areas. And that's all I had.
All right, well, thank you. Commissioner Grissom?
Thank you. I wanted to talk today about transparency. I know it's something that we've preached as a council. I know that we're getting back into people coming here, which I love. One thing that I really wanted to kind of talk about, though, is that we've been pretty quiet over the past 6 months to a year. I want to let you know that things haven't been stagnant. Even with COVID, we've been working hard on some things, and in the near future, I want people to know that we're going to have better communication. We're going to have some initiatives coming out, and we're going to have better ways that we're going to be able to communicate and get feedback as well, too. So I just wanted to say here in the near future, we're going to have quite a bit in utilities that hasn't fallen off our radar. Excuse me. And it's something that we do take seriously, and we're going to be addressing here in the near future. So expect timelines, more openness, and a lot more feedback as well, too.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Commissioner Hines?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate the bike path, and I know that's kind of it's a hard thing because it's like 13 miles or so of other stuff that we need to plow, but you know, not only for people who are exercising, for many people it's their mode of transportation to work. I see people walking the path a lot, moving back and forth between businesses, so I know it just adds another strain to it. I know we have a very active running community in the city, and I'm not sure if we could partner with them. If there's a gator with a plow on it or what have you, but I think it is something to think about just for our citizens, not only for recreation, but just to transportation to get back and forth to things. So it's not an easy thing with snow, I know, because we had a hard time just dealing with what we had on the ground, on the streets. Other than that, I'm just glad that the sun is shining, and it seems that, knock on wood, hopefully winter is behind us. It also seems that with the vaccine happening, that people are feeling a little more comfortable coming out. It seems to me that at least, it seems like people are breathing a little lighter in light of that, and I think with the warmer weather coming, being outside, as Commissioner Pearson said, getting outdoors is good for the soul, it's good for the mental health, it's good for everything about it. So we got a great community, and we're so fortunate to have our bike path, the river, we've got hiking trails. I mean, we've got so many opportunities right here. So I really want to encourage our citizens to get out and enjoy the beautiful creation that we have right outside our back door. So that's all I have.
All righty, thank you, Commissioner Hines. And I wanted to announce that there are some board openings and for committees. There will be a press release posted tomorrow on the website, but we have one opening for the Energy Board. The vacancy occurred March 1st of this year. One opening for the Civil Service Board, and that vacancy occurred March 1st of this year. And two openings on the Park Board, and the vacancy occurred March 1st. If you're interested and you want to get involved, please put your information in so that you could participate, help the city out. It's good experience. It gets you involved in a city board, and recommendations are taken seriously by all those boards. So we appreciate any help that anybody would like to volunteer and participate in those boards. I'd like to thank people who followed me for Black History Month. I posted a Black History fact every day of the month, and I got a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback, and it was piggybacked by the city of Piqua who reposted my facts. It's important, and even Larry Hamilton, who owns the Randolph McCullough Freedom Center there on North Main Street, he followed me, and it's a good thing. He had a little piece on Channel 7 because the Randolph slaves is Piqua history, and it's good that people learn about that, not just for the month of February, but particularly in the month of February, because Black history is American history, and it's every day. So people should keep that in mind, remember it all year round. Another initiative that we're looking at doing is supporting small businesses that are in Piqua. A friend of mine named John Emmerich, John and I go way back from when I was a police officer. He could tell you that story, I won't tell it, but John's a great guy, a very good, dedicated public servant, and very, very good guy. He, when BK opened a week or so ago, he posted it on his Facebook page, and I always love BK root beer. It's not just the root beer; them Coney dogs are amazing. And so he posted it on his Facebook page. I reposted it on mine, and the goal was to get a lot of business to go to BK, and they broke their record because of the number of people that went and bought. I had to sit a half hour to get mine. So what I suggested to him, and what he's willing to do, is to focus on all our small businesses in Piqua. And we pick one a week. We focus on it. Everybody retweets and tells people to go visit, and that way we can get business to the small businesses. So once we generate a list, once John gets a list generated, we're going to start posting it, and hopefully we can post it to the city's webpage as well. But we'll feature a small business, and people in the city can support their local small businesses that way. So it was a brainchild of John's and I, and we're willing to help our small businesses, because the pandemic was not very kind to a lot of small businesses who wound up going out. Those who survived, we need to support. So,
Absolutely.
and other than that, I am happy to be here, and happy with the way the direction the city's going, and our citizens. And if I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
Moved and seconded. We're adjourned.